All right, Eddie, here's today's show.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to try to rip through it quick because we just
Lost a segment.
lost a segment because of technical difficulty.
Right.
St. John Bosco lived back in the 19th century. He had a lot of dreams and visions, and he had a prophetic vision of hell. In this dream, it appears as if St. John Bosco is being escorted to hell by an angel. So we want to talk about some of the more salient parts that jump out and then comment on them. Again, many of the dreams of St. John Bosco could be more properly called visions, and God used this means to reveal his will for the saint. And not only did his dreams lead and direct St. John Bosco, they also gave him wisdom and guidance by which he was able to help and guide other people on their way to heaven. He was just 9 years of age when he had his first dream that laid out his life's mission, and it was this dream that impressed Pope Pius IX so much that he ordered St. John Bosco to write down his dreams for the encouragement of his congregation and for the rest of us. And through these dreams, God let him know the boys' state of their souls. So this dream that we're going to share is on Sunday night, May 3rd, 1868. And we'll read some of it, then we'll just comment on it. Okay? Here's one of the dreams he says. He says, the road is sloping downward as we were continuing on our way. Okay, apparently this is an angel escorting him, okay? Flanked by banks of roses and other flowers, I became aware that the oratory boys and very many others whom I did not know were following me. Somehow I find myself in their midst. As I was looking at them, I noticed now one, now another fall to the ground and instantly be dragged by an unseen force towards a frightful drop. That's apparently a description of a soul being dragged to hell by a demon. He says, distantly visible, which sloped into a furnace. And I guess the angel quotes Psalm 139, verse 6. It says, so what makes these boys fall? I asked my companion, Psalm 139, 6. The proud have hidden a net for me, and they have stretched out cords for a snare. They have laid for me a stumbling block by the wayside. The angel says, take a closer look, he replied. St. John Bosco says, I did. Traps were everywhere, some close to the ground, others at eye level, but all well concealed. Unaware of their danger, many boys got caught, and they tripped. They would sprawl to the ground, legs in the air. Then when they managed to get back on their feet, they would run headlong down towards the abyss. Some got trapped by the head, others by the neck, hand, arms, legs, or sides, and were pulled down instantly. Apparently, they were pulled down to hell. Okay, the ground traps, St. John Bosco says, fine as spider webs and hardly visible, seemed very flimsy and harmless. Yet, to my surprise, every boy they snared fell to the ground. Noticing my astonishment, the guide remarked, "Do you know what this is?" "Just some filmy fiber," I answered. A mere nothing," he said. "Just plain human respect." Seeing that many boys were caught in these straps, I asked, "Why are so many caught, and who pulls them down?" Eddie, you want to continue?
Yeah, Jason, we should just make a notation very quick. The boys he's talking about were the boys to his oratory, his school that he started. And so obviously he loves these boys a lot. And you're going to see this as the story goes on. But it continues as such. It says, "I picked up one of the traps and tugged. I immediately felt some resistance. I pulled harder, only to feel that instead of drawing the thread closer, I was being pulled down myself. I did not resist and soon found myself at the mouth of a frightful cave. I halted unwillingly to venture into that deep cavern and again started pulling the thread toward me. It gave a little, but only through great effort on my part. I kept tugging, and after a long while, a huge, hideous monster emerged, clutching a rope to which all those traps were tied together. He was the one who instantly dragged down anyone who got caught in them. It won't do to match my strength with his, I said to myself. I'll certainly lose. I'd better fight him with the sign of the cross and with short invocations. Then I went.
Don Bosco's looking at. He's seen the devil right here, Eddie.
Exactly, Jess.
Calls him a monster.
Yeah, he sees this huge, hideous monster coming towards him at the origin of one of these traps. And so I think, Jess, if we reflect back on our own lives, we'll see that along the road to wherever we might be going,
hopefully heaven,
there will be saints like John Bosco and others, according to our devotions in this life of praying to them and a need, etc., trying to help us escape the grasp of the devil. And it goes on. It
I
says,
like the way he fights, Eddie. Just it's important. How does he fight? He goes, "I'm making the sign of the cross."
making the sign of the cross. Absolutely.
And short invocations. Those are short prayers, like firing off short prayers throughout the day, like Jesus, I trust in you, like, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph save souls. Those are invocations, these short prayers that you fire like a cannon throughout the day when you feel the diabolical.
Short ejaculations, they call them.
Yeah, there you go.
He says, then I went back to my guide, the angel. Now you know who he is. He said to me, he goes, I surely do. It's the devil himself. Carefully examining many of the traps, I saw that each one bore an inscription: pride, disobedience, envy, sixth commandment, theft, gluttony, sloth, anger, and so on. Stepping back a bit to see which ones trapped a greater number of boys, I discovered the most dangerous were those of impurity, disobedience, and pride. In fact, these three were linked together. Many other traps also did great harm, but not as much as the first two. Still watching, I noticed many boys running faster than others. Why such haste? I asked. Because they are dragged by the snare of human respect.
Eddie, something interesting here.
Yes, go ahead.
St. John Bosco just mentioned the 7 deadly sins.
Yes.
So that's what he's seen. He's seen the devil is trapping these young boys, and he's trapping them. He's ensnaring them with the 7 deadly sins, which are found in your Bibles in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16. Pride, sloth, envy, anger, lust, gluttony, avarice, pride. Go ahead, continue, Eddie, with the dreams of St. John Bosco.
Yes, he says, looking even more closely, I spotted knives among the traps. A providential hand had put them there for cutting oneself free. The bigger ones, symbolizing meditation, were for use against the trap of pride. Others, not quite as big, symbolize spiritual reading, well made. There were also 2 swords representing devotion to the Blessed Sacrament, especially through frequent Holy Communion and to the Blessed Virgin. There was also a hammer symbolizing confession, and other knives signifying devotion to Saint Joseph, Saint Aloysius, and to other saints. By these means, quite a few boys were able to free themselves or evade capture. So important, Jess. Indeed, I saw some lads walking safely through all those traps, either by good timing before the trap sprung on them or by making it slip off them if they were caught.
Let's talk about some of these weapons
Yes.
that St. John Bosco just mentioned.
Exactly.
So St. John Bosco in this dream, he sees the devil and he sees souls, boys being taken to hell, generally by the 7 deadly sins. I mean, the devil doesn't even have to change his game, Eddie. He's been using those sins since the Garden of Eden. But the weapons here that John Bosco, I love it. He says meditation is one of the weapons. Well, guess what that is? The rosary is Christian meditation.
Right.
Okay, so without saying it, he's saying the rosary. The rosary
helps you fend off the grasp of the devil.
Yeah, and also, even more in recent times, the Chaplet of Divine Mercy, that's also Christian meditation. So, and then he also says spiritual reading. We got to read good books, Eddie, that are going to build us up in our faith. Life is too short to be reading garbage and putting garbage between your ears. Just cut your teeth on good Catholic books. They're out there, okay? And so what are some of the other weapons he mentions, Eddie?
Well, he mentions, especially, through Holy Communion, but devotion to the Blessed Sacrament, Jess.
Man.
I mean, any minute that we spend in front of the Blessed Sacrament will project hours at our judgment there. And the Blessed Virgin. There's also a hammer, Jess, symbolizing confession.
Wow.
The hammer is how you slam the grasp of the devil away from you. You and I both know how important that is in spiritual warfare when it comes to being vexed or hexed or anything to do with spiritual warfare, and how important that is. And then other knives that he used signifying devotion to Saint Joseph, to Saint Aloysius, and other saints. So these are wonderful. Wonderful things, just that God allows for us to try to free ourselves from the grasp of the devil, especially in this dream that St. John Bosco is talking about.
And I'll tell you what I like about this is that those are the weapons, Eddie, that virtually you and me are always talking about on our shows. These are the weapons that we're always telling our listeners to start using to defend yourself against the diabolical. And it's good affirmation to see that a saint 200 years ago was revealed these weapons by an angel. And this is the same thing that we're saying today, Eddie. So we're right in line with St. John Bosco.
St. John Bosco, yeah. Go ahead, just go ahead.
Virgin Most Powerful Radio, sharing the gospel with clarity and charity.